Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chill Thoughts for the Jonsbo C6. I started out this story by searching for interesting cases to build for these videos, and after a little searching on Newegg, the Jonsbo C6 popped up. It's suspiciously similar to a Jonsbo case I built in a few years ago, in its size and its layout, but looked promising with a nice paint job, ventilation, removable panels, and decent front I/O. I bought the case and it sat in the queue for a little while until I finally opened it to make the unbuild, and I was majorly disappointed at first look. The ventilation holes in these panels are so far spaced apart and so small that it looks like barely any air is going to get through. But then I remembered how cheap the case is and kind of just forgot about being disappointed. Opening up the case is about as easy as it gets. The panels just pop loose and there's a simple plastic lever on the back to get you started. If that broke or got lost somehow, you'd have to pry off one of the panels some other way. It's probably not a big deal. The frame is mostly riveted together, but the corner pieces are screwed in place. I think those are just cosmetic, really. Building in the system isn't very difficult either. Start by building up the motherboard and put that in. Then the fans and GPU and then the PSU. In a case this small, you're not going to find special areas to route cables, so strap the excess together and tuck it in. At least there's no window, so it won't show. Once the system from the chill build video was finished, the poor ventilation came back to haunt me. With just that Ryzen 5 7600 and a 4060 running the Firmark stress test, the CPU hit at the temperature limit and could only sustain about 4.1 GHz all-core frequency at about 26 ambient temperature Celsius. Take the front and top panels off so that the fans could actually push air through, and that frequency jumped all the way to about 4.65 gigahertz. That's a huge difference. Now, that's in the stress test, though. At gaming, I didn't really run into any problems that I would have noticed, so even that's forgivable. I could have changed the orientation and combination of fans a ton of different ways, and there are probably good justifications for most of those combinations. But I wanted room to use that bottom PCIe slot, and a full 25mm fan would interfere with most cards down there. That may be the best location for a fan though, and it's possible that a slim fan might work. You can make a success out of this case. You'll probably just need to find upgraded cooling because that basic stock cooler just wasn't cutting it. And you'll have to work within the limits of the poor airflow, which means power tuning your CPU so that it doesn't get out of control. For beginners, you may not feel comfortable doing that, but for anyone who's done a little bit of tweaking, that's probably okay and you can still make this case work. What impressed me the most about the Jonsbo C6 are that it looks clean and it's small while still using a micro ATX motherboard, full ATX power supply, and the front Type-C port does not require a Type-C header on your motherboard. Now, you could use an SFX power supply to get more room for a bigger heatsink, and you could buy a board that has a front panel Type-C header. But having an ATX power supply and not needing that Type-C header on the board means you can buy much cheaper components and still build a computer in this case. The biggest disappointment really is the ventilation. These new AMD CPUs like to burn all the way up to their thermal limit, and in this case, they'll hit it sooner than later. I recommend sticking with low-end hardware and then tuning it to work well. I don't know how Intel or AM4 CPUs would hold up in here, but I'm guessing they'd do okay. I strongly recommend you do not try to mount any kind of AIO in this case, excepting maybe in the bottom. The fan will get choked. Most of the comments on the build and unbuild were very positive, thank you, and one guy asked about the bottom fan thing, which I answered earlier in this video. So I appreciate how chill you guys are. Thanks for watching, and if you don't mind, please leave a comment below and let me know which phrases you always hear in reviews that really make you cringe, like they're so cliche you can't even stand it. You know, feels good in the hand kind of stuff. Thanks.